Howdy, YouTube. This is Steven, and I want to talk with you guys for a quick moment about my thoughts and opinions on cycles 2 and 3 of Asia's Next Top Model. Alright, so this review is probably going to center around cycle 2 more so than cycle 3 because I enjoyed cycle 2 much more than cycle 3. So I'll start with cycle 3 and get that one out of the way. I wasn't really like a lot of the women are the contestants on the show of cycle 3 were really generic. Only two people really stood out for me, maybe three when you kind of got along a little bit more. Like one person that stood out was Amanda, and then the other person was Monica. And then Melissa did kind of stand out for me too. But yeah, I felt like they were trying to kind of like create drama because there wasn't drama. You know how they kind of do when it comes to the reality shows, and like, oh, let's put this person in this room, and then like they have a new host now. I hope is this really a major spoiler? Yeah, but Nadia used to be the host. She was like the host for cycle 2 and cycle 3. Right, that she was the host for cycle 1 and cycle 2. She did not come back and host cycle 3. I don't know why. There was some issues about money, perhaps. I don't know. But I did hear that from cycle 1, some people were not paid for the work that they did on cycle 1. And, you know, that sucks, but I do remember how they were treating one of my favorite contestants from cycle 1, Helena. So I'm like, okay, you want to treat her bad? That's what you get, you know? You want to be all nasty with her? That's what happens when you be nasty with people, you know? And I still hold some resentment to Nadia because of the way she treated Helena back in cycle 1. But this time around, I think Nadia is a bit more likable, to be fair. She doesn't seem to be as caring as, say, the host of cycle 3, Georgina Wilson. But I say she is very skilled, and she's skilled in her hosting. You know, she is a bit more natural, you know. But yeah, I don't think Nadia seems to really care about the contestants as much, you know, as Georgina. But Georgina, on the other hand, doesn't seem to have the hosting skills that Nadia has. I think Nadia is probably the better host, but then again, I think Georgina Wilson might be the more genuine person, you know. And also on cycle 3, when Georgina came, I was like, is she Asian? Hey, because when I first looked at her, I was like, okay, she kind of looks like Katy Perry. You know, and no shade, you know, Katy Perry looks nice and Georgina looks nice too, but I'm like, okay, this is Asia's Next Top Model, so perhaps we should have a host that is at least part Asian. But come to find out, she actually is part Asian. She's part Filipino, actually. Like, part English and part Filipino, I believe. Filipino, yeah. So I was like, okay, all right, okay, you get a pass for that. But, yeah, I'm pretty sure she can probably, you know, pass herself off as being, like, full Caucasian, probably. Just, like, you know, an exotic white woman. And the reason I'm being a bit critical about that, it's not like shade to like people who are Caucasian or anything, but it's just like, okay, this is Asia's Next Top Model, so maybe we should have someone who is at least part Asian, you know, preferably full Asian, but I don't think we're going to get that for some reason. So at least part Asian. A lot of the contestants are actually part Asian and part other. Usually it's like Caucasian. It was one contestant from cycle 2, Marie, who was part black and part Japanese. It was like part Senegalese and part Japanese, and that was pretty much the only other mixture I really seen on Asia's Next Top Model that wasn't like Asian and Caucasian. You know, because usually the mix, when it comes to like the contestants who are mixed, usually the mix involves Asian and Caucasian. That's usually what it involves. I know one of the judges, Joey Mead King, is actually part Filipino, part Iranian, which to me, like, she can kind of get a pass on that, even though you can kind of say that as Middle Eastern is considered white in some situations. So I don't know, a little flippy floppy there. But yeah, back to cycle three. Yeah, it was pretty much. I was like, okay, I was kind of. It was mildly entertaining, you know. I was a bit annoyed at some of the contestants, particularly Barbara, because she seems a bit like lacking fight. Because at one point it almost just seemed like she just wanted to give up and quit, you know. And I think that I'm like, I'm thinking like, is this a contestant that needs to go on to the next round? um, so yeah, pretty much the people that I thought were standouts from cycle three were Melissa, more so because of the haircut, because before that it was like random Asian chick. Then Monica and Amanda. Um, those were like people who stood out from the beginning. And two, like later on, Amy did kind of stand out for me. But then a lot of them just kind of seem to just blend into the background, and a lot of them seem to blend into each other. I'm getting them confused. Like half of them blended into each other. Like, okay, um, is that Amy or Gandhi? Or, is that you know you know what I'm saying? I don't even remember half their names, to be honest. The only ones I really remember are like you know the ones that stood out to me, and those were the ones that stood out to me. And I think Talia. Other than that, I don't like. Yeah, like. Mm. So cycle three, I haven't gone back to rewatch cycle three, and I think that is pretty much how I feel about that season. It wasn't entertaining enough for me. Um, and they really tried to force drama that wasn't really that dramatic. And you can tell when they were trying to kind of stir up drama, like the production. You can tell when they were trying to do that. But Cycle 2, on the other hand, now that was really entertaining. I've gone back and watched Cycle 2 like a few times. And when I was watching Cycle 2, I'm like, I want to see the next episode. Like, what happens next? What happens next? Because it was really entertaining from the drama point of view. It was really entertaining. And a lot of the girls seem to have like personalities and have like a standout look with them, and didn't blend in to each other as much as the girls in Cycle 3, you know? And I guess a lot of them were standouts to me. Because a lot of them had unique looks with them. Like, I remember pretty much the majority of the contestants, not all of them, because there were a couple, like maybe the first 3 or 4 eliminated contestants were like, who cares? But I definitely remember like um like Sheena, Marie, Jodalee, um, Janice, Tia, Sneha, Pooja, um, Natalie too. Even though Natalie was a bit kind of like, but I do remember Natalie. Um, who else? Nicole, definitely a crazy one. Um, who else? Let's see. Josephine. I thought she was had a good high fashion look with her. And I thought she brought in her photos. Although she did kind of get a bit like modeling 101 type of look sometimes. And I think that's about all the major contestants that I remember. I think those were all just about it. Like the other ones that kind of just blended into the background, you know. And I definitely had some favorites that I were rooting for, and some people that I initially didn't like, I wound up coming to like later on in the cycle, you know? Because at first I was like, you got a nasty attitude. But then I'm like, okay, you seem like a pretty decent person now. Um, and I was even a little saddened by that particular person's elimination too. I was like, really? You guys eliminating her at this point, and her picture's not even the worst picture? And it just seemed like the the judges were kind of like going in on her a bit much, like over and over again, and people on the like message boards were saying she was getting like the Helena treatment, and she's like Helena 2.0. They're like doing her like they did Helena back in cycle 1. So it's like, I'm like, dang, you guys like ease up. And then the guest judge put the nail in the coffin, you know. I'm like, dang, like that guest judge really pissed me off when it came to that person, because the guest judge was just, no, like, I don't know, like, she wound up saying something that I felt should have been said by a permanent judge. And she said something to the extent of, I think the only reason why you've gotten this far in the competition is because of your face, versus being a model from like everywhere, versus just a model from like the neck up, you know? And I think that should have been said by a permanent judge, not a guest judge. And it's like, just since like shade, you know, just a whole bunch of shade coming from the guest judge that time. And then other contestants, I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of thought that one contestant was going to get eliminated really early in the competition, but then it started to get better and better and improve. So I'm like, okay, I'm kind of rooting for this person now, you know? And this person made it to a point where I feel like they should have made it a little further in the competition than they made it. And I'm like, really? You guys eliminating her, this contestant, over this contestant? And then the contestant I was kind of rooting for in the beginning, I was like, I'm tired of you. You know, at first you were my favorite broke down model, but now I'm like, okay, you getting too much shine for doing too little. You know, you're doing just a little bit, and the judges are just like, oh my god, it's so high fashion. Like, yeah, them judges, they be on something else. And also Adam, I don't like Adam as a judge. He is just too much, too over the top. And I think Mike Rosenthal, I think he might be a bit too, the exact opposite, a bit too plain to be a judge, you know. Jody Mead King, I can tolerate her. She's pretty decent. Although sometimes she can be a bit over the top too, but not as bad as Adam though. And Nadia, this time around in Cycle 2, she was more tolerable. I liked her more in Cycle 2 than I did in Cycle 1. Just because it didn't seem like she had a vendetta against like a particular person, you know, this time around, versus back in Cycle 1. When she did that to Helena, I was like, nah, that ain't cool. You shouldn't have been doing that. You shouldn't have been playing a part in that. Like, no. You know. But, you know, more power to Helena. Definitely, she has been making her rounds since she's was eliminated, you know. So, more power to her. Because she was like one of my favorites back in Cycle 1. You know, one of my standouts. And also Trong. I was rooting for Trong, but yeah, they did her wrong. So yeah, they did a lot of folks wrong. But I think I've said pretty much all I have to say for the time being. Feel free to let me know what you guys think if you watch it. You know, I think I definitely prefer Cycle 2 over Cycle 3, and I definitely rewatched Cycle 2 more than I would rewatch Cycle 3. I never rewatched Cycle 3. I have rewatched Cycle 2. And also the girls have more personality in Cycle 2 and a bit more endearing, where I'm like actually a bit invested in them when it comes like, okay, please don't get eliminated. Like, come on, make it through the next round. You know, when you're kind of rooting for a contestant. Yeah. So there you have it. Feel free to comment. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to give me a thumbs up. Your feedback and support are extremely appreciated and extremely valued. Until the next, whatever this video is about, the next video, adios and goodbye for now. Oh yeah, one more thing about the winners. I won't reveal the winners, obviously, but okay, Cycle 2 winner, I was a bit iffy about. Because I'm like, but then I saw her work post-show, and I'm like, okay, you turn me into a believer. Like, okay, I'm down for you now. You turn me into a believer. Cycle 3 winner, I didn't really care about. That wasn't the person I wanted to win. That wasn't the person I thought should have won. Although that was the person that I thought they were going to let win, you know. And my personal favorites from Cycle 2, I say Marie, Tia, let's see, at first Katarina, but then I kind of like, whatever. And to a lesser extent, like a lot of them though, to a lesser extent, but those were like my major favorites. But to a lesser extent, you know, I did like Sneha's personality, you know. I like Janice's dramatics, you know. And Nicole was crazy. She provided some entertainment stuff. And also, they kept asking Janice at panel, like, what's going on in the house. I'm like, why are you guys bringing up this stuff at panel? This don't got nothing to do with panel. We supposed to be talking about the pictures and what happened on the set, not what happened at the house. I think, again, they're kind of doing that just to add even more drama. And also, like in Cycle 2, they kept showing like behind the scenes of them, like after they get, you know, like after the judges judge all the pictures in front of the contestants, then the contestants go backstage and wait for the judges to make their decision. They kept showing like the backstage drama for a lot, or many episodes. They showed like what happened backstage, and like the contestants were fighting with each other or arguing with each other and stuff. So that was entertaining. So yeah, Cycle 2 over Cycle 3 any day. So there you have it. Adios and goodbye for now.